Okay, so it is 12:15, so we will get started. Um, Hi, I am Emily. I am the Associate Director of Administration and Communication here at Dawn Mountain. And I'm sitting here with our lamas, Lama Rigzam Drolma and Lama Namgyal Dorje, to present our annual report for 2023 with all of you here this year. Oh, give me one second. We're getting just a little bit of feedback. So let's see if that helps. We're going to talk a little bit about our past year as far as programs and finances, as well as some of the goals we've had for this year and some of our goals looking forward. And then we should have a few minutes for question and answer. So, our lamas, if you would like to start with this past year.
Thank you so much, and thank you, all of you who are here online. That's really wonderful. Well, a big event of this year was that we moved into this space where we are now, St. Philip in Galleria, one of the most exclusive sections of Houston, actually, and they are proving to be very, very supportive. It's a good space for us. It's actually a space that can be divided into two, should we wish, and even have two simultaneous programs. We haven't done that yet, but we've been settling in here. This is really part of our comeback after COVID. And Emily's been very active and helpful in letting people in the area know that we're back and gradually gathering more folks here. So that's an ongoing process, decorating this space, feeling at home here. We're very happy and grateful to St. Philip Presbyterian. They're a very big group here in Houston, and they had to vote and decide that they wanted to support another tradition. So that's an ongoing process. We were able to hold our cycles program here this summer. This is really our comeback cycles. We had unusually we had two programs. We did a week-long, seven trainings of Longchenpa, which was the first in our cycle series when we began in 2017. So in a sense, we're starting to repeat the cycle of cycles, and we did that. And we also had a Shitro retreat, which we haven't had since 2016. And quite a few people actually took both retreats, some people one or the other, and we were happy with how that went. In relationship to cycles, my book came out last August, Being Human and a Buddha Too, which really it contains Adzum Rinpoche's oral commentary on the 7 trainings, which he sees as a very significant foundation for practitioners in our tradition, and encouraged me, therefore, to write about it. His commentary wasn't enough for a whole book, it wasn't long enough, so I wrote some chapters, and it is also the first in the series, House of Adzum series in Wisdom Publications, and there's another book in process. Adzum Trukpa's, those of you who have been taking the Ngondro course, the Brilliant Basics, which was another big achievement for this year. Brilliant Basics is a self-paced course doing the Ngondro, the foundational practices. We teach both the Jigme Lingpa, mother text of Ngondro, and also mainly we practice, of course, Adzum Rinpoche's distillation of that Jigme Lingpa's text. Adzum Rinpoche, as I think you know, has been recognized from very early in his life as an incarnation of Jigme Lingpa. So he decided to revise his old text, and it's shorter, and we use that. And that's going to, the translation of that, which I've just sent, the first set of proofs to Wisdom, is going to be the next book in the House of Adzum. We hope that our research institute will participate in other books coming forth in this series and other works as well. I'll say more about that in a moment. I went back to Europe. Hey, Verena. Are you here? Yes. Yeah. This summer, for the first time since, I think, 2019 at Ganden, and we had a lovely time, did we not? And planning to go back again this year with, looks like I'll also be teaching in Berlin, in Bodhicharya, a very beautiful center, I'm told. I haven't been there yet. And who knows, maybe a couple of other places too. Another thing that's important for us, so the Brilliant Basics is, Emily worked very hard. We have now the first and second sections of that available. Anyone who wants to join the course can do so. And in the next few months, we are taping the final section, which is the severance practice, which is our retreat in September. Those of you who would like to learn Jigme Lingpa's severance practice, which is included in his Ngondro text, you're welcome to come. It's part of both Brilliant Basics and cycles are converging in this retreat this September. And let me see about that. Then in the spring, we will do the Guru Yoga. So it will all be in the can, so to speak, by early this coming year. And then we plan to, Emily may or may not say something about this, but she has been working very hard to, we're really seeking to expand the exposure that Dawn Mountain has. Some people call us the best kept secret in Houston, and we don't want to be a secret. So marketing turns out to be quite a process that requires a lot of thought and a lot of skill, and Emily's got that in hand. She has, I should say that she was promoted this year, her new title that she told you, as Associate Director of Administration and Communications. That was a promotion recognizing her good work here, and so part of that is making plans for a significant marketing promotion to let people know about us, let people know about our Brilliant Basics. Another thing that's very significant for us that has been going on this year, Nathaniel Rich, who most of you know, he is, since his graduation, his PhD from Santa Barbara, one of the great Buddhist Tibetan studies programs in our country under Jose Cabezon, he has been working and now is a senior editor at 84,000, a translator. So he's a translator of Tibetan. He has also been totally devoted to Adzar Rinpoche since he was a college kid. He met him in 99 when Rinpoche first came. He was, I think, 19. So we have invited him to do more teaching with us, and he did do some of the teaching in our first cycles course in the 7 trainings, and that has gone very well. And if you're coming to Teaching Tuesdays, and if you're not, we encourage you to. He has been instrumental in translating some material from, as he says, the most famous Lama you never heard of, Shenpen Taiye, who is a kind of he studied with a direct student of Jigme Lingpa, very much in our lineage, and set up a whole study program in which our lineage has been very much participatory. Patrul Rinpoche, who you know, Words of My Perfect Teacher, Mipam Rinpoche, these were, they also studied there and taught there. So this is very much our lineage that we're learning about and bringing it to life. And we'll say more about that at another time, but that's an important thing. Nathaniel is stepping up. He's also become more active in the Research Institute and has been very helpful. Claire Villarreal and Renee Ford, also both PhDs from Rice in Buddhism, have also been participating in teaching in various ways. And we have been in touch with and Lama Tenzin has continued. You know that for, I think since 2013, for people who have completed Ngondro, and as people are completing Ngondro, you are invited to discuss with us joining. He has been teaching Longchenpa's, maybe one of Longchenpa's most famous works, the Chiyingzi, the Precious Treasury of the Dharma Dhatu, which is his brilliant, luminous, poetically gorgeous poem about Dzogchen. And Longchenpa also wrote a commentary on this. So For us, this is very central to our lineage. Jigme Lingpa, as many of you know, had 3 visions of Longchenpa in his own retreat, so we consider him to have had direct connection with Longchenpa, comes through Jigme Lingpa to us, So Lama Tenzin has been teaching that 1 weekend a year. And if you have finished Ngondro and you are not part of this and you're interested, let us know. He gives really, really warm and wonderful oral commentary. It's a great skill. He is the student, very close student of our teacher of 40 years, Khyentse Sampo Rinpoche, who also was our teacher of Longchen Nyingtik, which is also what we continue with Adzun Pela Rinpoche. Lama Tenzin has been teaching 2 other things, which continued last year, are continuing this year. Longchenpa wrote instructions on a very famous, important Dzogchen Tantra, which is also very long, called the All-Creating Majesty. It is the words of Samantabhadra, telling us how it really is, who we really are, what the world really is. It is the fundamental Tantra for the mind class of Dzogchen teaching. So you get a lot of information about how the mind works and so on. And it's not taught very often, but he did study it with some of his, I think with Khyentse Sampo Rinpoche, maybe with Dingo Khyentse Rinpoche. He has studied it, and so he has been sharing that with us. Very wonderful, simple meditations. It's not a sadhana practice. It's like, this is how you can look at your mind and see what it truly is. And this has been dovetailing with a very short text by Mipam Rinpoche, also very connected to our lineage, was a teacher of Adzom Trukpa, was part of the Sri Singha College that I mentioned in Dzogchen Monastery. And Mipam wrote a very short text called, how do we choose it? Negyu Rik, the stillness, movement, and awareness of mind. And there's kind of 2 short essays in Tibetan, and Lama Tenzin has been teaching these very slowly, so that most of the teachings are actually his oral commentary from experience of lamas in the lineage, his own experience. He will be teaching that in March online, this coming March, and he will be here in November teaching as well. If that interests you, let us know. I think the last thing I want, what?
You have a last thing?
I was going to mention our conversation with the Hemera Foundation, but we can wait to do that later.
That's more future.
Okay, that's enough then.
So
If you have questions, come back to us later, yeah.
Emily, I keep doing this. Emily was very, very kind in reminding us that we need to cover 2023. Since we had an annual meeting on 2023, and the report's going to be posted, right?
The report is already on our website, and it's
Okay.
been emailed to everybody. And for those of you in Zoom right now, it is linked in the Zoom chat if you would like to sort of follow along.
Yeah, so there are a lot of details in it, and I'm sitting here as a presenter, and I'm mentally juggling, do I make a high impact statement or do I give a lot of details?
High impact.
Well, it's interesting that you say that.
Well,
So
some combination maybe.
in 2023, we dedicated the major part of our teaching and our retreats to the revealed treasure of the Avalokiteshvara, the compassionate Buddha, that was revealed at Poto Island. What year was it revealed?
I think 2014.
In 2014. And this is a little bit dicey to talk as the way I'm about to talk, but I'm going to do it. We recently had some of our colleagues die, especially Jeffrey Hopkins, who was Ann's mentor. She was his first PhD student at the University of Virginia. And we were colleagues in forming the Buddhist Studies program at the University of Virginia. And in academia, there is a phrase, it's a pretty fancy phrase. It's called hagiography. It's the study of saints. And we lived with Jeffrey, and he was very, very human. And at all of these memorial services and prayers that we had for Jeffrey, it was pretty much sainthood. And he was actually all of the above, a saint and human, being a Buddha and a human too. But I feel, there used to be a joke that the expert was a person who came from out of town with a slide projector and gave you a lecture. And I do want to offer that I'm not always sure that people fully appreciate who Lama Rigdzin is and her place in the history of Tibetan Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism coming to America. And our lives are getting shorter. I mean, neither of us is ill, but having recently encountered the deaths of many, it really starts making you wonder, and you start imagining what people will be saying at your memorial services. I just want to encourage people to take advantage of an incredible, rare opportunity that Lama Rigdzin offers. Adzom Pela Rinpoche is clearly a historic figure in the history of Tibetan Buddhism. He will, I hope, go down as a figure who saw Buddhism through a very, very, I'll start crying, very, very dark era in the history of Buddhism in Tibet. And most of us are familiar with many, many great lamas who have come to the West and have resided in the West and have really spread Buddhism, thankfully, to us Westerners. Rinpoche has dedicated himself to staying in Tibet. And it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard. And he's a religious genius and a unique figure. And as we read the biographies and autobiographies of the great teachers, it's like his life has been unfolding. And when Lama Rigdzin arrived, he said he was waiting for her. And she's been present for at least 3 of the revelations of his major treasures, Yeshe Tsogel, Manjushri, and Avalokiteshvara. And you don't come by those odds. I mean, to being a Westerner, to being a woman, and to being present when treasures are being revealed. I mean, the Tibetans aren't even present. She was at Wu Taishan when Rinpoche revealed Manjushri, and there was a very, very small.
What? He didn't reveal it then, he
Received it. He didn't reveal it, but he received Manjushri. And she was at Taramandala when Yeshe Tsogel treasure occurred. And then he invited her to come to Potu Island with a small group on pilgrimage. She was going to leave for the United States, so he kind of urged her to come to Potu Island, so she was present. It's a very, in Tibetan history, they talk about the auspicious circumstances that have to come together for a treasure to be revealed. And she's been part of those auspicious circumstances. It's very, very, very unusual. There are enormous blessings associated with Lama Rigten through Rinpoche. And the fact that we are able to offer these teachings through her and with Rinpoche's blessings and explanations is such a hugely unusual opportunity for all of us at Dawn Mountain. And it is a bit of a hidden secret. And I don't know, Rinpoche actually would love for us to be involving many, many, many students in these transmissions, and we would love to. But I think at least for those of you who are present, please, please appreciate what is occurring. Don't wait for the funeral to to value what's happened. Value it now. It's an incredible, incredible opportunity. I'll leave it at that.
Wow. Well, I think I have to say that there a lot goes into maintaining certain kinds of connections with Rinpoche, and Lama Namgyal has been heroic. I won't go into details, but he has sustained, I don't know what to say. He's done a lot. Not only supporting me, of course, but from the first moment when I told him about Asam Rinpoche, that I had met this amazing teacher in Tibet, and then a year later, this amazing teacher wanted me to be fundraising for him in the West, and we thought, and Harvey said, well, I don't know if we can do that, but let's invite him, it'll be fine. Those of you, most of you don't know Harvey for decades, but Harvey is not the kind of person who says it's going to be fine. He worries about everything, a lot, thankfully. And he just said, let's invite him, it'll be fine. And he has been an absolutely necessary support, and he has his own long, long connection with Rinpoche. I mean, like past times connection. So I would say we're very lucky to have found each other and to have connected with Rinpoche, and you know, he is the heart and soul really of what we are doing here, and one of the reasons we're so happy, as I mentioned, that Nathaniel is more and more on board is because of his own personal connection to Rinpoche. I think that's Nathaniel online. We don't see you, but I don't know another Nathaniel. So I did mention this earlier, Nathaniel, you weren't here yet. Yeah, good. Glad, very glad that you're here. You may wish to speak in a moment. If you like, you may. So we're blessed, in short. And we share some of these blessings happily with Tara Mandala, and actually the three of us, Tukureso and Lamed Sultram, often talk together about what we're teaching and how we're doing and help each other in that way. So yeah, very, very close connection. Very glad that we have this support, and the other centers also are helping support Rinpoche's work around the country. I should probably stop here, huh? So, did you want to say anything, Nathaniel, or we can bring you? We'll be back on after Emily discusses her piece of it, and then you are welcome to join if you would like to speak. Yep.
Yeah, so thank you, Anne. So as Anne said, one of the biggest achievements of last year is moving into this beautiful space at San Felipe, St. Philip Presbyterian Church. We also added staff. We've got Shane Pack, who just
wanna come up
completed an
and show your face?
internship at CERN.
A very prestigious internship in terms of his academic career in Switzerland. And that's Shane.
Oh, I don't think they saw your face. It's right there. So thank you, Shane. We have Leslie, who is Thank you. You're, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We have Leslie, who's been working on graphics with us, and we now have Sarah, who also, if you want to come up here, has been working with us in the office.
And Jerry continues. Oh, probably going to say
Oh,
that.
yes, and I was going to share.
For at least 15 years, Jerry has been here.
Yes, so Jerry is actually on vacation right now to celebrate her 16th year here at Dawn Mountain. Her anniversary was, actually, I think it's tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness. Yay, Jerry.
So another big thing to announce is many of you have heard about the Research Institute for a long time, as if it were something aspirational, in the future, not really sure what it is quite yet. But the reality is we actually have concrete details about the Research Institute to share with you. If you look in our report online under other highlights, we do have the detailed plan for the Research Institute linked so that you can look. And there has actually been a plan, I believe, through 2025, and the Research Institute has actually accomplished everything on time so far. It includes the Being Human in a Buddha 2 book, as well as the book Anne has upcoming for Nundro, the Lamp Lighting the Path, and I believe work starting on the Yeshe Sogil book. Some of our big tasks this year are rebuilding the community, both in person and online. Some things we're doing differently for our in-person community is we're offering free meals on Sunday, which I think have been a big hit because people are staying after they're building a relationship with us, and we're building that sort of missing piece of community that we've all wanted since the quarantine. We've also, with Jason's help, attended the Houston Pride Parade this year, as well as the Chinese New Year, actually, Jason. The Houston Pride Parade had, I think, an attendance of 40,000 people. But we increased our newsletter by 90 people, and we've had a consistent stream of new visitors since attending that event. Dawn Mountain, as far as I know, had not really been present at these big public events before, just to let people know that we're here in Houston. We had a lot of people say, wow, there's a Buddhist temple in Houston. Little do they know there's a lot of them. But they did get to meet us. They showed curiosity. And there's potential, I think, for us to be out in Houston in other venues, such as the Mid-Autumn Festival of the Asia Society, potentially. We're looking at some farmers markets and sort of other events. So this is new and exciting for us, but it's drawing new local people. We've also had Qigong, which recently wrapped up. Something invisible to everybody that isn't in the report, but will be in next year's report yet, is we're also working on organization behind the scenes as far as standard operating processes, strategic planning, et cetera. We've recently installed project management software in
Safe Sangha stuff.
the office as sort of a way to organize all the events coming up in a way not only to stay on top of them, but also for better communication with all of you about what we have coming up in the future. So we have made progress towards next year. If you've asked us what we have coming up, we are hoping we have a way to communicate succinctly what's coming down the line and what's involved in all of it. So that is something we're working on. And next year, we will work on a 5-year plan for 2025 through 2030. So.
Yay.
We also have a financial review in our 2023 report. As you know, the sale of the building happened last year, so all of that is included in the finances. We have very transparent numbers here for you, and if you have any questions, you can email me at emily@dawnmountain.org. So it just was a unusual year with the building sale, but I can tell you this year we are on track as far as expected financial fundraising and expenditures. And then the report wraps up with a list of everyone who is a member in 2023, everyone who's volunteered on our board, and everyone who has donated. You know, we are only here thanks to you. I think frequently about our community and what our community needs whenever we have a meeting discussing our programs, whenever we're problem solving with, you know, how can we, now that we're here in St. Philip, improve the St. Philip setup? How do we improve the online experience for those of you on Zoom? We're always thinking about you guys, the staff is. So I'm not going to read all these beautiful names, but I have privately read them, and I just want to give my heartfelt appreciation to everyone.
So one thing that we didn't mention that started, I think, in 2023 and has continued is we did an unfortunate reality in all spiritual communities nowadays is that there has been unfortunate behavior, financial, physical abuse, and then also sexual abuse that occurs between leaders and participants, sometimes between participants, amongst participants. And it became clear that we needed to pay some attention to this. I attended a 1-month, 5-part teaching called Healthy Boundaries in Buddhism. And as a consequence of that, and in consultation with several other centers, we did come up and with some very, very wonderful volunteers who consulted with, we created a kind of Safe Sangha committee. We created rules of conduct, guidelines of conduct, both for leaders in the community and also safe conduct guidelines for all participants in our retreats and in our community. It's a very, very difficult subject. If you start hearing about things that have happened, it's extremely trying to hear. It's extremely disappointing, saddening, frankly confusing. It turns out that though individuals may be involved in spiritual development and even spiritual leadership, they can engage in behavior that is destructive. And what we need to prevent is destructive behavior in our communities, and we need to be able to maintain a safe educational environment for our students and our participants. And those are what the guidelines are meant to be about. And we also have a Safe Sangha response team. So kind of like a spiritual ombudsman. If there are issues that come up, people will be able to come forward and talk with those individuals and see what can be the optimal response for everybody in the community. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And I just want to say really quick, those ethical guidelines are already available online. And we've already established going forward in our registration that you're required to agree to them, to the guidelines, when you are participating in Dawn Mountain in order to be able to register for any of our events.
Yes, thank you. And most of the other centers that we are connected with are, I think, adopting their own version of their guidelines. Tarmont already has a very robust one, and they were one of the centers that helped us, as did the local Zen Center. And Lama Namgyal did a lot of work attending that course and coordinating meetings and really putting together the document. So we feel we have been fortunate. We haven't, in this center, had this kind of issue, but we need to be sure that we don't have it. So I'm very grateful for that. And I also want to give a big shout out to Emily. The reason we were at the Pride Parade was because it was her idea. She and Jason,
It was Jason's
with
idea.
Jason, tremendous help. Do you want to just wave, Jason? I don't know, maybe you don't want to reveal yourself. But yeah, thank you. You're driving, as always. Thank you so much. He's really been de facto chairman of the board for a while now, and things have gone very well thanks to his work. And he and others perhaps also worked. It was a big team effort. You were also part of that, right?
It was a team
Janet,
effort.
Chairman of the Administrative Council,
chairman of the Administrative Council
specifically.
And it was also a lot of fun. So if any of you watching in Houston want to help out next year, we handed out malas. We had 1,000 malas with Dawn Mountain's logo and a QR code attached by a tag that we were able to give to so many people, as well as bookmarks with Mount Kailash and a rainbow over it, and a little bit about what the rainbow means to Tibetan Buddhism.
So a lot of ingenuity coming forward toward our goal of galvanizing our local community as much as possible, and while continuing, I assure you, to think a lot about how we can keep improving the experience for those of you who are with us online. We don't want to put you on the spot, Nathaniel, but if you would like to say anything about the Research Institute, you could. We haven't talked about it too much. Or if you just want to say you think it will do good things that you can report on next year, that's okay.
Sorry, it's Sunday morning in my house. I have to walk outside so that you don't hear my 5-year-old. I think I might just say that something that you have already said, which is that we've been having conversations about the future of the Research Institute. Dr. Renee Ford has been part of those conversations as well. And I'm in particular very excited about some of what we've discussed. We're talking about the future. We've also been having conversations about curriculum development. I don't think I've heard you mention yet the
Good point.
Buddhism in 4 Words, which is about to begin, which is something that I think is something that's exciting for me, and something that is geared more toward, we hope, absolute beginners, people who know nothing about Buddhism. And you also mentioned Emily mentioned some of the volumes that are forthcoming from the Research Institute. I think that is one part of what we've been discussing about our work. There's also the archive project and various translation projects. And maybe we're a bit ambitious, but I think it's good to be ambitious. And I think that there's a lot that will be coming forth from the Research Institute, and I'm very honored to be a part of it. I might also second something that Lama Namgyal said, something that I've said in another context before, but I think always bears repeating, which is that, and I don't mean to embarrass either of you, but it is simply a fact that Lama Rigzin and Lama Namgyal are historic figures in the transmission of Buddhism to the West. And they are, in my opinion, too modest, perhaps, although that's one of their admirable qualities. But I think I can say for one that they are truly historic figures, and I think many of us are maybe not always aware of just how fortunate we are to have them and to have them available to us. May they be available to us for many, many more years, but yeah, I just wanted to say that. And also, Emily is extraordinary, and we're also very, very fortunate to have Emily here with us, and I'm tremendously grateful to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we're grateful for you and your increasing roles, as we did talk about perhaps before you went on. And I think before you got on also, Renee, we did mention you, Dr. Renee Ford, has been very active. We had a series of pretty intense grant writing discussions this summer, actually. We hope we'll be able to talk about the fruition of those next year, although we've had an encouraging conversation already with one foundation. And Renee also has been getting up at 2 in the morning to teach teaching Tuesdays because she's in Europe now. And we're very happy for your participation, and thank you, Renee. If you'd like to unmute or reveal yourself and say hi, you can, but if you're not in a position to do that, that's all right. Very different. Hi.
Hi.
At least it's not 2 in the morning your time now.
No, it's after dinner and I'm folding laundry, but it's nice to be with everybody.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much for
Thank you.
jumping in. Yeah, and we also mentioned Dr. Claire Villarreal. So we have these three wonderful young people who are helping us to support our programs going forward. And maybe do you have more?
Well, I was going to say maybe it's time to open for questions.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Great minds. So the floor is open for comments, questions, Hail Marys, prayers. Also, if there's some particular thing that just, interested you that maybe you didn't know about, that would be interesting to us to know. We're all friends here. You don't have to make a formal speech. Be happy to hear from you. Are you two? Did you just?
Verena.
Yeah, Verena. Yeah. Thank
Well,
you for coming.
it's just to say that I feel extremely happy to be here with you. I'm also in Europe. I'm in Wales, in the UK. So, but when I met you, Lama Rising, I was so happy because I could feel the freshness of the teachings. So alive and so clear that it was a wonderful connection. So here I hear people saying how lucky we are to have you and Harvey that I didn't know, but I'm meeting online. And so I just wanted to say thank you, and hope to be with you in other teachings. I've been following the Tuesday teachings, but because of the time, I have been seeing the recordings. But I think I'll try to be awake in the middle of the night to be with you.
That's a bit of a challenge. It's fine for you to do the recordings.
And I'm glad to know. I'm not sure I knew that you were doing that. It's always encouraging to know that there are people who are, doing them.
Yes, yes. And enjoying very much. Really appreciate. Very nice. Yeah, I'll be continuing now in the new series.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I look forward to seeing you at the very least, if not online, for one of our retreats during the day.
Yes.
Yes. In Europe and continuing, because I too felt wonderful meeting with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Maybe you have advice for us. I don't know. A couple board members here. Maybe you're just sitting on your heels for a while. You'll tell us later. I'll mention that Vajana is also a current board member, and Don Urwitz. We're very grateful for you. Nancy Sullivan is a really good friend for a long time. That kind of support means a lot too. Likewise, Simon and David.
Hey, this is David. Just to say, really appreciate you all and all your offerings, and keep it up. It's wonderful that you're expanding the teachings in the ways you are, and exciting to see the St. Philip's song being used there, and hopefully that'll be a great move on from COVID.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
it's our hope as well. Thank you so much,
David.
David.
And we appreciate all of your support, including your great questions. that come out pretty regularly. So thank you. And a shout out to Robert, who is another really, really old, good friend, very devoted to Rinpoche, and who actually has taken over the fundraising and founding head of TCPI.
He's actually gone off of that. He's now retired.
But still founder. And I'm not sure which of our wonderful Petras is online, but we're glad to see you.
We now have 3
Anything else?
Petras in our community from Europe.
Anything else?
There's a hand up
Yeah.
for it.
Hi, David. I didn't mention you earlier because you're not. Nice to see you.
Well, there's no reason,
Natural Dharma. Yeah.
right, no reason why you should mention me, but I just wanted to also just chime in a little and say I also participate in the Teaching Tuesdays on but I do it after the fact because it conflicts with an Natural Dharma offering every first and third Tuesday, exactly.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So
I remember that.
and it's a Zogen thing, but and I always get fresh ideas and just wonderful inputs from the times that I do tune in, and that I can bring in my role with NDF.
Yeah.
So, increasingly connecting with what you guys are offering. Very grateful. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Also,
It's-
I want to shout out to Robert, who may or may not be hearing me, but he and I and Kathy and my wife Flo went around Mount Kailash together in 2007
Oh, wow.
with Sonia Rinpoche's organization, and we connected and haven't seen each other since then, except for an occasional online bump into each other. So, hi, Robert. And, that's it.
How sweet.
Thank you.
Lovely.
These inter-Sangha connections are really so precious. And of course, as you know, I'm really beloved of Lama Willa. And we also have our own personal connection, which is very wonderful and supportive.
Yes, and she of you as well.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and Ruth is here. Did I mention? Sometimes I don't see people right away, so I don't mean to leave you out, Ruth. We're always really happy to see you.
I'm so
Thank you.
excited to see Ruth because Ruth has had a lot of technical issues joining
Yeah.
us. So I'm so happy you're here today, Ruth.
And we can see you clearly. And Robert's got a lot of blue sky behind him, which is always good. I think, shall we dedicate?
Yep.
If you think of things later, and I do thank each of you for coming, it really means a lot. If you think of things later, please feel free. So thank you, everyone. Really, thank you so much for coming. May you be well. May we meet again.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Hey.